I was resting today, and then I got up, had my whole day planned. I had things I was going to go out and do with my wife. I was going to go out and enjoy the sun. You might see how bright it is right now. And then that line, when that king says, "Get to work."
Let's take your place in the circle of life.
You know, since no one's here, I guess there's no use telling people about all that toasty goodness in dtmerch.com. I mean, who's going to listen to me when I'm talking about that classic black tooth white logo? Who's going to notice that fluorescent neon logo right there? It's almost like no one is here to sip from that cup right there. And it feels like, you know what, I'm so lonely right now. I don't have anybody to call on that phone with that DT phone cover. And what's the use of the gift of choice if there's no one around to share that with? So lonely up here right now. Need more people to hang out with me. So you know what? Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your daddy. Subscribe to doubletoasted.com. Toronto, over there we're having our first international show. And that's going to be at the Adelaide Hall. Doors are opening at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7, and that's going to be a full night of comedy, games, and music. I think what I've seen here is incredible. I think this is amazing, what I've seen here. I just saw something like I feel like I've never seen before. I'm just a little disappointed. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just hear me out. I'm going to show the trailer for The Lion King, which you probably have seen multiple times already. I just want to show you again so we can refresh ourselves. And when you come back, can we just talk about this? Like I said, I'm not here to talk trash. I think I have a point. Just hear me out, if you don't mind. Let's go ahead and watch this trailer.
Others spend their lives in the dark. Begging for scraps.
Did you see these animals singing and talking? No, I know. No, look, I know. You've seen the elephant fly and all that. But on this level that we're looking at right here, do you see these animals singing and talking right now? Look, the technology for this is so advanced. I got chills while I was watching this. I really was kind of blown away from what I've seen. You know, when you're looking at this, it really is sort of the little things that they put in there, the small touches that they've put in here to make these animals look as convincing as they do. Because I'm looking at some of the things that they do here, just something simple, like with Scar. Scar just has the flick of an ear. Look at that flick right there. That little flick of an ear. Just less than a decade ago, that wasn't even possible to make it look as convincing as they're doing right here. I was getting chills watching this, like the first time I saw those dinosaurs walking the earth again in Jurassic Park. I was completely blown away by what I saw here. I got scared when I actually saw this. When I was watching this, I'm looking at this and I'm like, shit, Disney has a lab somewhere where they created mutant talking animals. I thought Jungle Book was incredible, and it is. Jungle Book is one of those movies where we said, man, I'm thinking about it. This is really one of the first times. Whoa, shit! This is really one of the first times that I've actually seen. That's how realistically, that scared the shit out of me right there. That's one of the first times that we've seen animals look this realistic with CG. To where they just have like I said, like the flick of the ear, the little nuances, like fur that just kind of moves naturally in secondary motion. This is like a nature documentary where animals just break out in the song and just start reciting Shakespeare. It's kind of freaky in a way. And I love it. Remakes just, that's the problem. They just don't capture the power of the original. Especially when you're talking about something as powerful as The Lion King. Think about the first time you saw Mufasa died. Or think about the first time you saw Mufasa die. I mean, don't even worry about you. You're a grown-ass person. Think about when you were a kid or when you saw a kid see Mufasa die for the first time. You think that they were sad then. Daddy! He said, those were kids. That was your face. That is your kid's face when they saw that. Now think about when they see a real lion getting killed. They're going to traumatize their ass. Animation is a very powerful art form. I don't have to tell you that. If it wasn't so powerful, then, we wouldn't have been as moved as we were by the original. So while I love animation, have my roots in animation, give my respect to animation, I still have to admit, it's still not as relatable as when you see something that looks like it's realistic in front of you. If they can capture that in animation, this thing is going to be billions first week. $1 billion first week. I'm going to say it right now. And that's cool. You're like, you goddamn right. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm here to respect. This is Africa. If there's a reason to remake this, it's because they got actual black people to do the voices for characters in Africa. Cartoon Simba sound like like a white dude in a dramatic class.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
Sounds like some hipster over in Williamsburg, Brooklyn or something. Again, not hating. But come on, man. What's this white lion doing walking around Africa sounding like that? Sounding like somebody that should be working at a craft brewery somewhere. Beyonce, Donald Glover, James Earl Jones is coming back. Chiwetel Ejiofor, Alfred Woodard. Now let me put some, they put some diversity up in there, as you can see. They got John Oliver, Seth Rogen gonna be. You get any kind of pudgy animal, he's perfect to play that. Of course, he's gonna be playing Pumbaa, of Timon and Pumbaa. So I like that casting right there. That's great. Still a little weirded out by one piece of casting. They got speaking of Black Panther, they got Black Panther's daddy. I forgot that guy's name. They have Black Panther's daddy playing Rafiki. And if you know who Rafiki is, which all of you do, he's the baboon. And I've always kind of was weirded out by that. And even right here, because if you notice, even the people that they got who are black, they all either are American or they're British. They got the African dude to play the monkey. That's how it was in the original. I've always kind of wondered, like, why is it that the monkey is the only one that sounds like he's African?
Kiara? Together? This is the plan? Are you crazy?
I was like, if I was African, I'd be like, what the hell are you trying to say? Why is the monkey the only one going out there like, hello, Wakanda forever? Maybe I'm going a little too deep with that, but it's still a valid question, I think. As I told you, they got some British people here, some British black people. And Chiwetel Ejiofor is one of the actors that they have here. He's the one that's playing Scar. I'm hearing a lot of people not happy with that choice. I don't like that. They say Scar kind of getting soft. Scar sound like kind of sound like a punk in a way.
While some are born to feast, others spend their lives in the dark.
People are like, come on, man, you lying. Put some bass in that shit. Talk, growl, talk low, talk with some authority. And when okay, listen. I agree that in a way, because we said this about Aladdin, with Jafar. Disney's taking some of their villains who had either, like I said, a little manhood in their voice or a little attitude with themselves, and they kind of punking them down a little bit.
You stumbled upon an opportunity. I can make you rich.
Oh, hello. For the price. Okay, I can see it, but it ain't really bothering me. Well, why are you disappointed then? What's the deal? If that, you had nothing but praise, you had nothing but respect. You said these things that people are complaining about, they're not bothering you. So we're good. We can cut this video off and go on about our separate happy ways right now. Oh no. Oh no. You know you know me. I'm never satisfied. You know I never make it that easy. But you also know that I try to be fair, which is where I have to say my disappointment comes in. Because I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to come in here and nitpick. I'm not trying to find fault. But I tried to let this go. I really did. I tried to not let this get to me. Because there are a lot of amazing things that I see happening right here, and there are a lot of effective things that I see happening, and I'm very satisfied with some things I see happening that I haven't, with me not even having seen the movie yet. But I still can't get over that one thing where it feels like a shot-for-shot remake of the original. Still seeing shots here where they're the classic scenes from the original, where we see Simba growing up, that little montage that they have right there. That's something that they've repeated with this one here, which I understand. Like I said, I get it. Those are things that fans want to see. That this movie's a classic, it's a masterpiece, some people consider. So you'd be hard pressed not to do those scenes in the film without people. I know people complaining. One of the things that people are trying to compare this to is a movie that's a notorious remake, a movie that bombed just because people felt it was so unnecessary. Which I don't think it's fair to compare this to the 1998 Psycho.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
This is based on the Hitchcock masterpiece Psycho, which had a lot of successful sequels, but as far as doing a straight up remake, people felt like that was completely unnecessary because they had nothing to bring to the people or to audiences except color and one scene where Norman Bates, the killer, he was masturbating while he was watching some people bathe or take a shit or something. But with the Lion King, I think that's unfair because at least the Lion King, it brings technology. It brings, again, a new cast that I think a lot of people respect. It is going to bring a different experience to people. It's going to bring a different level of emotion. Again, so why don't you shut the hell up, Corey? Well, I that said, and I am waiting to see the movie. That said, this is, if you're not going to change anything, and I'm not saying that they aren't. Haven't seen this yet. They might be doing so many different things in here that they just don't want to show us in the trailer. So we got to be fair about that. But just for argument's sake, and just so I'm prepared for disappointment if they do this, when you do a shot-for-shot remake, if this is a shot-for-shot remake, there's no new surprises there with the story at all. So I gotta admit that even if I like the movie, that's going to be a disappointing area for me. Especially with a movie that everybody's seen as much as the Lion King. Lion King is one of those films where it is such a huge classic that people have seen. Kids watch. They wore. When I was coming up, I remember kids. Like my friends had kids, and they would. This is back when videotapes were around. They would wear that videotape out. That videotape would be torn up. They'd have to tape it back together because these kids were crying. They had to go out and buy 10 new copies just in case one broke and they had another one ready. So they know these stories, or this story, in and out. And that's fine for some people. Maybe that's comfort for them. Maybe they just want to see it again. So maybe it's just me. Dumbo is a failure, man. The recent one that came out just a couple of weeks ago, it did not work. Critically, it was a failure. It did not make its money. But one of the things, it made money, but not his money back. That thing had a huge budget. Those ears ain't cheap. But I tell you, man, one of the things that I do appreciate Tim Burton doing with that is that they tried to do something different with the story. I'm thinking about when they first started this whole thing of doing remakes. This trend that they're going to do all these big budget live action remakes of animated films. I like the way they started out. They weren't straightforward remakes of old stories. Maleficent. Maleficent was one of their biggest departures where they took a villain and made a villain into a sympathetic protagonist. I don't know if you want to call her like a complete hero, but it was something where they took a character that was misunderstood and they did, when they talk about doing a reimagining, that's exactly what they did here. And I applauded them for like doing something different. Cinderella. That was a remake of an animated Disney classic from the golden age of Disney. And this remake was necessary because they brought personality to characters that needed it, man. Disney, when they were making their old versions of these films, when those films were made, it was a simpler time and the characters didn't have to have as much complexity to them. Not that that was bad. It was just the time period that it was in. But for today, it was nice to see that they were taking these characters and saying, all right, now we're taking characters where we can make them a little more than just something to push the story along. And also had them adapt to some of the to society today. Cinderella wasn't such a helpless princess. She was somebody. The prince himself wasn't somebody who just came in to rescue her. She was a stronger female character, and the prince was somebody who seemed to have a brain. Because at that time he was a piece of cardboard. It seems like once they saw that there was money to be made, they just started. They said, well, let's, why we making money? Why are we trying to actually put work into this? We put the title on it. People gonna come see it. You think that people ain't gonna come see something? We put a poster out there. We don't have to put the characters on there. Just put a piece of paper out there that says Beauty and the Beast. People gonna come see this, man. And this was kind of just a straightforward remake. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. LeFou, whatever, the sidekick of Gaston, he was gay, which was something that was just said. Never like we saw him get in bed with a dude and go at it or anything. That was kind of a throwaway thing. It wasn't a whole lot of effort made to differentiate anything. And for some people, that's fine. And it was a huge hit. And I don't mind that. I'm not bothered by that. It's just, for me, I only have to speak from my personal preference here. And it just seems like I love these classics. Beauty and the Beast is one of my all-time favorite films. And while it's interesting to see some of these movies that I love be, remade with, flesh and fur that looks real, I've seen these, man. I would love to see a little something different. Maybe if Disney didn't do the effort before, maybe I'd be like, all right, I'm cool with this, whatever. But I would love to see just a little effort being taken to give us something new. Still, I'm still positive about this. I'm still excited to see it. I'm still positive with this. Like I said, I saw this and hey, even the story might not be that much for me, but it's going to be great to look at. We'll just have to wait and see. It's not bad that I have wishful thinking that I hope we have some new story elements besides just showing us the money that's put into the technology, which, while incredible, I like to be surprised. So I don't know if anybody else out there feels the same way I do. I don't know if you're looking at me right now and you want to murder me for my opinion because I'm just disrespecting. I don't know if you feel like I do. I don't know if you have another opinion outside of that. Feel free to share. I'm going to look and see if some people are here right now. But the comment section is there. Whether you're on YouTube or our site or anywhere else, feel free to let me know how full of shit I am. You always do. There we go. Andy M. He feels a certain way. He says, no one can recreate how chilling Jeremy Irons read that line. That was cold-blooded, man. That was some that was some cold shit. And Jeremy Irons, he really was the one that kind of brought that to it. I agree with you, Andy.
Long live the king.
Daddy! Disney has a way, and I'm not trying to be homophobic again. Don't take it that way. Because Disney, I tell you something, and I said this, I've already said this. This is a compliment to gay people. Y'all, gay men in particular, Gay men can give you attitude like nothing else. They know how to make something. They know how to say something and just make it extra shitty. They know how to make it they know how to rub it in. And I'm saying, yeah, Scar's gay. Let's all admit it. Come on. Scar was on the down low and he was angry because he couldn't be himself. I'm calling it right now. They know how to rub it in, man. That's why Jafar is such a great villain. Because he knows how to just rub that in. The prince. Oh, come on, you ain't got to manipulate your face like that and put your bottom lip out like that. Damn, you just call me a piece of shit. You don't have to like rub it in. Walter's Ryan. When I mention the expressions, it's impressive yet distracting how realistic the faces are to a point where it might be hard to tell what emotions they're feeling. Even something from Disney that strived for realism back in 2000 with Dinosaur at least balanced out the realism of the dinosaurs and the lemurs with making the character very expressive. I'm impressed with how each animal looks, but I'm concerned they're just going to look like blank faces through most of the runtime. And you make a great point there. May I counter, though, with this? I doubt you get the Scar that we have that we saw in the original animated. When the real animal ain't gonna be smiling like that. That shitty smile right there is what really makes it, man. That's what really makes him as villainous as he is. I will argue that we just kind of have to take this as sort of a different things and accept the limitations that we have with animals. And I say limitations that they realize the limitations that they're having. They're sort of self-imposed limitations. They know that that they want to have. And there's your animal Scar right there. They know that they want to have these animals come across as real animals. So they don't want to cross that line where they start smiling and grinning and dancing and shucking and jiving. They don't want to have them do all that. I think that with animals, though, making them realistic and talking, you still have reduced and you know what I mean by this, folks, when I say it, the uncanny valley. The uncanny valley where something looks real, but there's still something slightly off about that, and to the point where it's kind of creepy. I think with animals, you don't have that much trouble. I don't think with animals you get the uncanny valley as much. Human beings is what we're looking at because we look at human beings all day. We ain't, we're not staring in the face of a lion, and if you do, that's your ass. It ain't gonna be for long. We're not sitting up there staring and interacting with lions all day. But so we're not gonna be as harsh to judge. That's just my opinion. We'll take this one question right here. Andy coming in with the good conversation. Do you think CG animals will ever replace real ones like they did with this one in the 94 remake of The Jungle Book and the upcoming Lady and the Tramp remake? That is a good question, and I'm not going to try to answer that without knowing. Oops, sorry. Dropped my phone. Because, as we all know, for people who keep up with the behind-the-scenes stuff with Hollywood, especially on the production side, you know that kids and animals, including dogs, cats are the worst I hear, but animals are notoriously hard to work with. So I think that, you wouldn't even have possible some of the stuff that you have here. Like, again, this is the reason why this is incredible, because you would not have, this would not be possible. That's why this was made in animation years ago. It could even be argued that this would have been made with CG today, instead of being an animated film. That's the only thing that worries me about animation is that, now so many things are possible with CG. Disney did what he did because there wasn't CG around. His whole thing was, if you can tell a story with live action, tell it with live action. If you can tell it with animation, tell it with animation. As we all know, he did some things with live action that were fantastical stories. 2,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea. One of those things. But going back to what I'm trying to say is animals are hard to control, but they're probably not that expensive. I'm not sure. And they still haven't. And plus, you got to think that if they're interacting with people, it's probably going to be more noticeable than when they're not. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they will not replace animals as much. I mean, you're gonna have a dog in a movie unless that dog has to like do something crazy, like in that movie, Show Dogs. Well, one of the dogs got a hand in his ass, and then he got up and started dancing about it because he was happy to get it. That's a very disturbing scene, by the way. Things like that. So I don't know. I don't think that they'll replace them extensively. I think CG will be used mostly when animals, they just can't train an animal to do something. Or they're getting tired of that, the animal trying to get something down. Or they have movies like this where it's like a huge cast of animals. That's what I believe. If that made any sense. I want to thank you for listening, and please check out our other videos. I thank you for your support. Subscribe, and stay toasty.